Iraqi President Saddam Hussein might never have been caught by America if it wasn't for his love of a dish called Masgouf, an Iraqi delicacy. For 32 weeks, the U.S. Army tried every possible effort. But there was no trace of Iraq's former President Saddam Hussein. On this mission, not only was the U.S. military working day and night, but U.S. Special Forces, the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency, and even the FBI were deeply involved. Thousands of personnel from these agencies were searching for one man,
Saddam Hussein.
What kind of threat did America really see in this man? And how did they finally manage to dig him out from 6 feet underground, inside a hidden grave? Welcome back, friends. This story begins after the 9/11 attacks in America, when Al-Qaeda struck New York and Washington, D.C. The rage of America was witnessed by the entire world. At that time, U.S. President George Bush decided, whoever supports terrorism will be targeted. Now, Saddam Hussein, the dictator of Iraq, was not directly involved in 9/11. But America believed that Saddam Hussein was indirectly supporting different terrorist groups. Yet this accusation was not enough to attack Iraq directly. What was certain was that the U.S. wanted to end Saddam Hussein's hold in Iraq, a grip he had maintained for the past 24 years in various roles of power. To topple his rule, America needed a strong reason. And so, the U.S. claimed that Saddam Hussein was hiding weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, nuclear weapons. Using this claim as the foundation, in March 2003, the U.S. launched a full-scale attack on Iraq. Supporting America were the militaries of the UK, Australia, and Poland. In just 3 weeks of fighting, they reached Iraq's capital, Baghdad. On the very first day of the invasion, Saddam Hussein disappeared. By the time American troops reached Baghdad, there was no sign of him anywhere. The U.S. tanks and troops captured Baghdad and overthrew Saddam Hussein's 24-year reign. At Baghdad's famous Firdos Square, they even pulled down Saddam's statue to celebrate their victory. But toppling the statue is easy. Bringing down the real Saddam Hussein would prove far more difficult. Now, Saddam and his top officials became the #1 priority for the U.S. military. Every American soldier was given full authority. If Saddam or his 51 officials were spotted, they must be captured dead or alive at any cost. The most wanted list had 52 names in total. To help soldiers remember, the U.S. printed special playing cards, 52 cards, each with the face of Saddam Hussein or his officials. Just like a real deck of cards, but with America's most wanted on them. Soldiers played games with these cards in their free time, memorizing their targets' faces over and over again. For months, the U.S. military searched every corner of Iraq. They raided homes, interrogated relatives, searched shops, colleges, mosques. Nothing was left unchecked. The only thing they knew for sure was this: Saddam was still in Iraq, but where? Nobody knew. Months passed. Still, no trace of Saddam or his 2 sons. Then, the U.S. made an announcement. Anyone who could provide information about Saddam or his sons would be rewarded with $55 million. $15 million each for his sons, and $25 million for Saddam Hussein himself. In Iraq, many people were already against Saddam. The Americans were confident money would make someone talk. And soon someone did. One man walked into a U.S. military base and claimed, Saddam Hussein's sons, Uday and Qusay, are hiding in my house. At first, no one believed him. But when U.S. forces surrounded the house, they found both sons inside. The 2 refused to surrender. They were heavily armed. After repeated failed attempts, U.S. forces launched a missile strike on the house. When soldiers entered, they found the dead bodies of Uday and Qusay. With their deaths, America lost its strongest lead to Saddam's location. But the U.S. military did not admit defeat. Months later, many of Saddam's allies were captured alive, but none revealed where he was hiding. For months had passed. Some U.S. commanders began to think maybe Saddam was already dead. Even military operations and intelligence reports gave no sign he was alive. But then an audio tape changed everything. The tape was Saddam's voice, mourning the deaths of his 2 sons. This proved one thing: Saddam Hussein was still alive. Once again, the U.S. intensified its hunt. The bounty on Saddam's head was raised from $25 to $30 million, along with a promise of U.S. citizenship for anyone who provided real information. Tempted by such rewards, Iraqis began flooding U.S. bases with false tips. Everyone was trying their luck. But this only made America's job more difficult. Most names on the deck of cards had already been captured. Only a few remained, including Saddam himself. At this point, Sergeant Eric Maddox of the Defense Intelligence Agency took a different approach. He realized something. The most wanted list mostly contained Saddam's top officials. But their power came from Saddam, not the other way around. If Saddam needed anyone now, it was his bodyguards. Saddam's bodyguards were divided into 3 groups. One protected his palaces, another cleared places before he arrived, and the third group, the closest, stayed with him at all times. Saddam would need these men more than ever. Maddox traveled to Saddam's hometown, Tikrit, to hunt for clues. He interrogated the son of Saddam's bodyguard, Mohammed Ibrahim al-Muslit. But Mohammed himself was missing. Later, Maddox met one of Saddam's longtime servants. From him, Maddox learned something crucial. Saddam loved a dish called Masgouf, a grilled fish delicacy of Iraq. Maddox remembered. Ibrahim's son had once said his father loved fishing and owned a fish farm in Samarra. Maddox went there, but Ibrahim wasn't present. Instead, he met 2 fishermen, one of whom turned out to be the cousin of an Iraqi guerrilla fighter. After Saddam's fall, these guerrillas were waging war against American forces, and it was believed they were following Ibrahim's orders. Ibrahim, Saddam's closest bodyguard, was leading them. The fisherman also mentioned an uncle with a house in Baghdad. Acting on this lead, Maddox's team raided the house, and to their shock, Ibrahim himself was hiding there. Ibrahim often sent Masgouf fish from his farm to Saddam's secret hideouts. And he was the only one who truly knew where Saddam was. At first, Ibrahim refused to speak. But after Maddox offered him and his family U.S. citizenship, Ibrahim finally cracked. He revealed Saddam Hussein was hiding in the town of Ad-Dor. U.S. troops immediately launched a search there. Near the Tigris River, they found 2 farmhouses, but both were empty. Then, Ibrahim pointed to the ground, to a rope lying across the soil. The rope ran deep into the earth and led to a spider hole. Its entrance was sealed with styrofoam. When soldiers opened it, they saw nothing but darkness. One soldier was about to throw a grenade inside, when suddenly, 2 hands appeared. A man with a long beard emerged, saying, "My name is Saddam Hussein. I am the president of Iraq." The U.S. Army had captured Saddam Hussein alive. After 32 weeks of relentless pursuit, Eric Maddox's strategy finally paid off. Ironically, it was Saddam's love for the dish Masgouf that led to his downfall. Later, investigations confirmed the weapons of mass destruction America used as justification for war never existed. Even President George Bush admitted they found nothing. We hope you enjoyed this iFlare TV video. Don't forget to like, share, and leave your kind comments. See you again in the next thrilling story.